So welcome to our Open Championship preview video where we're joined by the glorious Henni Zuël from Sky Sports and ambassador and partner of Precision Golf, who we're going to talk you through a bit about Portrush, why it's such a unique Open Championship venue, and what it is that's going to make this course and the kind of players likely winners going into Open Championship week. So Open Championship, it's a unique test.
Yeah.
And particularly Portrush, I think, on the Open Rota. What is it for you that makes the Open what it is relative to the other majors?
Oh, I think it's got to be the conditions. You know, everything, the kitchen sink is thrown at the players. And I think from a British point of view, it reminds me of amateur golf where you had to battle the elements. You're on links golf courses around the country. And you've got to come up with every single shot in the bag, everything that you have. And that's what I mean by the kitchen sink is thrown at you. It's not just the conditions, it's the golf course with the little bumps and swales and hollows and massive greens, tiny greens, raised greens. I mean, you really do see it all. So across the Open Championship rotas, you get a nice mix of all of that. But I think specifically at Portrush, you get this wonderful, it's almost like it's been carved into the hillside, this golf course. It's one of the most rugged golf courses that are out there. And it demands a lot of you, I think, both ball striking wise and mentally. And not only do I love to see the players challenge from like an element point of view and in terms of the shots that they have to come up with, but mentally challenged as well, where there's not one hole round here that you can switch off on and go, okay, we're all right here.
Well, those are the ones that get you, aren't they? I think, as you say, the elements, I mean, the draw is so key often at the Open. You know, you get literally 4 seasons in one day. I remember last Portrush Open, you know, Lowry saying he'd pretty much never seen conditions like it. I think he's grown up with some horrid conditions. But yeah, it can be, I mean, you go back to Muirfield, I think it was 02, where you just got on the wrong side of the draw and you see the clouds rolling in and you go, well, you're knackered on day one and then the clouds come in the other day and you're knackered on day 2. So it can make a huge difference, can't it?
Yeah, massively. And I think as a fan, that is the thing that you love to see because you're seeing Shane Lowry won in horrendous conditions and you're like, yes, I remember those. I've faced those before. And we're used to seeing the best players in the world week in, week out playing in pristine conditions over in the US on the PGA Tour and or on the DP World Tour in glorious sunshine. And so, yes, I think that is one of the magical things about the Open Championship, isn't it? That weather condition, the draw, as you said, is crucial. You can have, whether that's a switch in wind direction, rain coming down, firmness of greens after rain. There's so many different things that are going on. And for the Open Championship, first tee shot gets underway at 6:35. Play doesn't finish until nearly 8 p.m, 9 p.m. So you have a vast array of conditions that are going to happen throughout the course of a full day. But it really does just feel like the truest test of golf.
So first shot of any Open Championship has got to be a key moment. You know, we saw it last time round where Darren Clark had the honour of hitting the first tee shot, absolutely flushed run. I remember him saying until he got on the steps down towards the first tee, he felt absolutely fine, and then the jitters kicked in and he decided to hit the biggest club he had, which was a driver. So even those guys get the nerves. And then obviously Rory's 2-iron out of bounds, you know, making an 8. You know, first hole has some teeth. So, you know, looking at what to expect from it, we'll do a little flyover of the hole. You know, we start on the tee here. Can't really see it on this view, but you've got out of bounds left, you got out of bounds right, and you've got a load of people there, which we don't have here, thank goodness. But yeah, it's the opening shot of a major championship, and you know, as we fly through the hole here, you know, it's generally prevailing winds a little bit down off the right. So as we look into the kind of the landing area of the tee shot, you've got flanked by bunkers. Now you want to be airing up the right side of the view into the green, but you've got a bunker there. And then if you just tug one a little bit, you know, getting a little bit overexcited with your tee shot, then you've got a bunker waiting for you up the left. You're pretty much spot on where these guys are going to be hitting to kind of landing zone. So, you know, that's not the easiest opening tee shot. You know, carrying on through the hole, you know, we're playing up to the green, so it sits above you. Not always the easiest opening approach shot in the world. Very deep bunker there on the left. So as we said earlier, the runoffs, you know, very deep chasms on one side. You're going to see a lot of the pros bringing in off the right-hand side into the green there. So, Thursday morning, whoever's first off 6:35 or whoever's teeing off Thursday, the first hole of the Open, Henni's going to take this shot here. What are you, if you're that player on the tee there, what are you thinking approaching this shot?
Happily, tee shot at 6:35, probably not going to have much breeze. It's going to be quite still and quite calm. But I think obviously the thing that captures your eye is the out of bounds down the right-hand side. Because you're thinking to yourself, I want to avoid those bunkers.
Yeah.
So maybe a little fade up there. If it was me, start down the left-hand side and just let it drift over to the right-hand side of the fairway. And then, you're going to see a whole array of different clubs used off this tee. We're going to see players hit anything from driver to 7-wood to mini driver to 2-iron.
Yeah.
Players just want to ultimately play for position. If you can par the first, you'll probably be gaining on the field.
Yeah. You can then breathe and get into the rest of the tournament.
Exactly, exactly. So I'm going to give it a go. I'm not going to hit it obviously as far as the guys. However, I would probably, if it was me, tee it down a little bit. Just make sure I'm getting the strike and the little fade. There we go. Fade on me. Okay, I didn't get the fade. I did just about make the fairway. However, I would be absolutely ecstatic with that.
You're in play, you're off. You're off and running.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
No bunker, no gorse, no out of bounds. We're happy and we march on.
Route number 1, off hole number 1, put it in play.
Okay, the next one that we're going to take a look at is the 5th. If we go back to 2019, Shane Lowry entered the final round with a 4-shot lead, navigated holes 1 to 4 well, which was key. The rest of the waiting pack was like, okay, what's he going to do here? But he really, I think, threw the glove down, set the tone when he birdied 5. Because, like I said, the rest of the field's going, how's he going to navigate those first few? He did successfully. 5, he made birdie here. And this felt like a crucial point where the nerves just absolutely calmed and settled. And it's an incredible hole. It's one of the most stunning visually out there. Short little par 4, 350 yards is usually what it plays from the official scorecard yardage. And this fairway, as we run down here, is a bit of a dogleg left to right. You can see, if I pause here, the green is up ahead on the right-hand side. So if you are going to go for it, this is where the decision has to be made. You can drive this green. You can either lay up sort of middle to left-hand side just over that mound, or you can drive the green, but you do have to take on all of this mounding over on the right-hand side because this hole snakes from left to right down towards that coastline. So if you are laying up, you might be looking at something here, you might be going a little further up around here, but you do want to avoid those 2 pot bunkers because they are a hateful distance. They're that 30 to 50 yard bunker shot, and it's a pot bunker, so nobody wants that. And then you can undo all of the work that you've done in terms of putting it in that perfect spot because now you're in the worst spot possible. However, if you are going up to the green, going for it until you've got this mound here, and it can kick off, and you have 0 space behind the green. Look at this, you've got maybe 5 yards back there. The next tee, the 6th tee, is over here on the left-hand side. So it is fraught with danger. However, as we saw from Shane Lowry, you can make birdie here and you can really make a statement, but it's a classic risk-reward hole is the 5th. Okay, so Simon, what are you going to do? You're going to go for it. It's about a 320-yard run out on the line that you would lay up.
I mean, ambitious for me.
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like if I'm in that position, I think it's the thing with this hole. You feel like you ought to make the most of it, and I think that tempts the players to maybe take it on when shouldn't they? It kind of you're torn because you go, well, the safer players put it in, wedge it on. You should take big score out the equation. It just doesn't. It's not the current mentality of the players now.
No.
I feel like they're going to go for it, so I'm going to give it a smack.
I love that. Can't wait to see this. Yeah, and you feel like even if the players hit it in the dunes down the right-hand side, they're just going to sort of chop it out and figure it out.
That little mound behind the green as well. It kind of. I think it's the beauty of this hole. You feel like it's going to give you a chance. Not quite no matter where you put it, but it feels like it's going to give you a chance. But that's this course. It's just picking the least bad option, essentially, isn't it? So, right. So let's see. Not bad.
Great strike. Oh, look at this. It's gonna hit the mound.
As long as it doesn't then roll right into the bunker.
Yeah, nice.
Take
That is ideal. I think a lot of players would pay you very good money to be positioned there.
I shall stand there feeling very pleased with myself.
As you should.
So next hole we're going to look at is the 7th, which is one of the sort of the new holes that they brought in for last Open Championship. And this one's really dramatic visually, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I think it's one of the only holes that you can actually see the whole hole in front of you, not from a really elevated tee. We've got all these dramatic drop-offs and run-offs and big elevated tees like the 8th, which is the other new hole that was added for the 2019 Open. But this one, everything's flat, everything's ahead of you, but don't be fooled. It's a par 5. Yes, everything's a straight par 5 essentially is what it is, but it's not that because it's fraught with danger.
Well, let's start a little bit of fly through. I mean, you've got prevailing winds into off the left.
Yeah.
So that presents its own challenge from a right-hander's point of view, and then you've got this dirty great bunker that's about a 280 yards off the tee, and if you've got wind in through off the left, that's then right on their distance. Yeah. And then you look the other side and they've stuck a little pop bunker on the left-hand side a little further up.
They tend to do that, don't they?
Yeah, it's cruel of them, isn't it? We love it. We love it. We love them being cruel to the top players. But that's a tough tee shot and a hole the players are going to look to make the most of.
Yeah, and as you can see, if we go up a little bit further, past this bunker. So if you're a player who's a long hitter, you can get it going, pitch it around 290, get a kickoff. Look how tight it gets up here. Yeah. So you're not completely in the clear. It's not a case of, oh, well, longer hitters can carry that bunker and you'll be absolutely fine. No, because if you are going to take advantage of your length and you want to go for this green in 2, you have to find that teeny tiny bit of fairway, which I will march out and measure when I'm up there. But I think it looks about 10 yards.
Doesn't look a lot. Yeah. No. And then if you've missed your tee shot, then again, you're having to lay up out of thick rough where you don't know what it's going to do to the club face. Yeah. Normally twists it and grabs the hosel and whips the toe over, and play to move it up a little further, play into this really narrow neck that leads into the green. There's no respite from that. Once it narrows, that's it.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And then you've got the bunkers up there as well. So let's say you're slightly out of position. You feel like, I'm not going to make the green, but I'm just going to, as you often do on par 5s, try and nudge it up there as close to the green as I can. That's also not the smart play because you've got those 3 bunkers just lying in wait. The only little spot that you can miss is that short left. But it's got dunes on both sides coming in, and as we know, with major championship pin positions, you don't want to be stuck in one of those dunes.
No, and again, you've got, they're not big greens here. This is a pretty narrow green, so you've got that, to coin your phrase, horrid little pop bunker on the right-hand side, drop off on the left. Yeah. So there are collection areas, but again, you're then playing up to the green. We all know how hard it is to gauge pace as you run up into those slopes. You're probably going to see a lot of putters hit from down there if you've got a good lie. Yeah. Just to take out the vagaries of the bounce and the spin you get off wedges. You may see 3-woods used, hybrids. But that's not a big green for an end of this hole.
No, I mean, Shane Lowry made par every day on this hole when he won in 2019. I think if you are going to go for it in 2, the bold, brave play is try and shimmy it past that right-hand bunker off the tee, get into the right-hand portion of the fairway, and then play it up to the left-hand side of this green. If you get it on the green, great, but as you said, it's quite small for a par 5. So if you get it down into that runoff, okay, make a little up and down.
And being Ireland into the wind, probably rain, I don't think it wasn't even an option at least 2 of the days last time out. So, potentially a real 3-shot challenge to test the best.
Yeah, and truly one of the toughest, tightest layups you're going to see on a par 5.
Should be some good gallows watching, I think, this hole. Yes. It's amazing with the height of the dunes on the right-hand side. If I go, back to the tee and kind of fly this up, what we start to see here is you've got the ocean over here and massive dunes this side. So the hole's just so beautifully framed. I think it's visually absolutely stunning hole. Great addition to the layout.
Simon, what have you got for me?
Well, the hole is called Calamity Corner, and that kind of sets the scene. I mean, it is. I think one of the most iconic par 3s in golf. Yeah. It's not a short par 3. We've got 232 235-yard par 3. You're giving us a little fly through here. You don't really see it from the tee shot here. There are some, you can see the drop off on the right, but as we fly through, this plays into the prevailing wind, and you've got that really big drop down short right, which just gobbles up anything. And the thing you have here is you've got that drop off running all the way around the right hand side. So for a right hander, that's the weak shot. So if you just get your ball striking wrong, it's tailing away and dropping down there. And for a left hander, if we're into wind, you get a little bit kind of over the top of it trying to keep the flight down, then you can pull it over right and take it down there as well. So essentially, the only place that you've got that's safe, there's a little dip in here, just to the left of the green. And that's where Bobby Locke made par every single day, hit it in there every single day, made par every single day, and it's got a kind of a Locke-esque name for that little drop down on the left. But the problem then is if you aim left, up on the left is trouble as well. So is it going to make the players be more aggressive each day, and then you're just bringing the right hand side into play. So apart from that, it's a really simple hole.
So what you're saying is good luck.
It kind of is. I mean, this is for when it comes in the round as well.
Yeah.
This is big time make or break, win or lose territory. Par is like a birdie. If you make a birdie, it's like an eagle, but you can turn par into double very, very quickly on it.
Yeah, 100%. You can get a great round going, and 16 can be your undoing, and there's no real place to recover because you've got 2 holes left, which aren't easy either. Okay, I have a 3-wood. My plan is to hit it up the left-hand side per Bobby Locke and run it in. I think Shane Lowry is hitting long iron in final round, and the conditions at this point were absolutely awful, horrific, whatever descriptive word.
The expression on your face tells the viewers what the conditions were like.
Yeah,
you said awful.
The absolute frown. Okay, here we go. Let's see what I can manufacture.
Is that a laser right at it?
Get up.
Look
Do you know what?
Look at that. Look at that. I mean, what you've got to do, viewers, is call your shot first and then just pull it off there. On the green, 2 putts, maybe 1 putt every now and then, run. When are you back on the pro circuit?
I'm shocked and delighted. I'm going to start plotting now.
Yeah. But that is ultimately the more they put a pin in the right hand side and you go at it, you've got to carry further to get to the green. So you haven't just got, off this tee, if I click on the front of the green, it's a 218-yard carry to the front of the green. You go to the right hand side, all of a sudden you've got 229.
Yeah.
So you bleed it off right a little bit, it's coming out softer, you're not making the carry. So that line, that shot, exact shot that you've just hit there is textbook.
Yeah, it requires a lot of discipline, Calamity, doesn't it? Otherwise you are going to have a bit of a calamity.
An absolute calamity, for sure, yeah.
Okay, 18. It's an incredible finishing hole because it's uphill, dogleg left to right, and feels like it's in 2 distinct parts. You've got to hit up to the corner, job 1 done, and then when you turn the corner, you've got the wonderful open grandstands, and who can forget Shane Lowry's standing ovation? Who can also forget it was a bookend, wasn't it, for Rory McIlroy with a double bogey? So it's not as simple and straightforward as Shane Lowry made it look. Found the fairway about 175, hit it into the green. And I think he had a 6-shot lead, did he, coming up the last?
6-shot up the last.
So there was it was a lovely walk and a wonderful, incredible moment that when you think back to it, makes the hairs on the back of your neck stand up for him. But as we look at this hole, it's about 480 yards, and you are just singularly focusing. It's quite a nice tee shot because you've not got the drama perhaps of some of the elevated tees or the big mounding or the ocean that you do on a lot of other holes. However, you do have wind into and off the left-hand side that is pushing you over to the right, and that is the side to avoid, despite the fact that it is a pretty straightforward tee shot. What you don't want to do is tussle with those right-hand dunes.
Yeah, and what we don't have here is the backdrop of the stands.
Yes.
That which just frame this so well when you're actually there, and kind of actually help with an alignment point, I think, off the tee. Yeah,
100%. Okay, so what are you thinking? You gonna hit it down the left-hand side? Are you straight up there?
I think with the kind of wind, it feels like it's more up the left and just let it bleed a little bit.
Yeah.
If it doesn't, you're still fine. You're
Yeah.
kind of aiming right at the bunkers and trying to draw it. You're drawing it almost away from the line you want to get to. And just feels like you're taking aim at the trouble. I mean, it's 300 odd, 290 odd to get past the bunkers, which into breeze is definitely out of my wheelhouse. So that's the thing with this course, it just says, okay, just hit a good shot.
Yeah.
You just got to
start it
probably
on your
left to
intended
just
line.
let it bleed a little bit, but
Yeah.
good contact required.
Okay.
So. So.
Nice.
Yeah. Kind of take that, not middle, but you know what, I'm in play.
No, that's ideal. And as you can see, as the ball's flying through the air, you've got those two bunkers lying in wait on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
So if you want to try and take on the corner and bite a little bit too much off, you're going to come unstuck fairly quickly.
Yeah, and you know, a little bit right. Even if you go over those and a bit right, you've got the thick hay waiting for you as well.
Yes.
So there's just no bailout. You
No.
know, you go
Ball
left, you've got
spotters.
further in, and you've got thick rough left as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, as I say, it's just got to just front up and hit the good one.
Ball spotters will be positioned up on that right-hand side. However, for your tee shot, it'll just be one of these, straight off the tee.
Yeah, I've got a long way in for a bit low on the face, but we have a way in.
We do.
So let's go hit the second shot.
Let's. So what we're going to do next is get up to Shane Lowry's yardage, which was about 173, 175. He hit 7-iron in. Is that what you're going to hit, 7-iron?
No, 7-iron with a bit of, we got about an 11 mile an hour wind into, so I left a bit of wind there. 7-iron, if it was flat and calm, yeah.
Yeah. He had a bit of adrenaline going.
I'm gonna go 6.
Okay.
I'm gonna go flighted 6.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's uphill a little bit as well, gradually all the way to the green.
And yeah, like a lot of these holes, but you can't see the bottom of the pin because of the mounding and there's a bunker in the way, and you know, so visually, your classic Colt very clever in that respect, which makes it just hard to commit, really. Yeah. So try and grab.
Yeah, in terms of up at the green, there is no real danger catching you out. It's all about positioning, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's, as you say, the bunkers are well short.
Yeah.
You can see them, but they're you know, hopefully out of play. And it gathers a little bit off the right. There's a drop off left.
Yeah. I think the main thing is distance control here, because it's a really long green. So if you've got the pin up at the back and you hit it front right, you're staring 3-putt in the face. Which doesn't make dinner taste great.
No, that would be chastening for your last hole. So, right. So again, you just quality ball striking for this with the kind of wind that's coming into it, that little drop off left. Similarly, not a wide green, but just got to err a little right, if anything.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take this and just flight it down very slightly with this wind. It's just drifted. I've made sure I haven't missed it left.
Oh, we found the danger up there.
Hit well.
Yeah.
Good distance.
Yeah.
Suboptimal.
Yeah. Suboptimal.
Yeah.
Buried, nestled, cuddled up into the dunes.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's one of those holes where it's not obvious danger. However, yeah, maybe just trying to nestle it up into that pin, and you're aware of the distance, you're aware of what could potentially happen in terms of really long putts, you're wanting to try and get it close, and that can turn the pressure dial up a little bit.
It's that classic case of there are two bad options, and it's which is the least bad one. Is missing it up there on the right, in the dunes, in a bit of rough, but on the level of the green or above the level of the green, the better miss, or is actually left where it's shaved down a little bit, better lie, but in principle probably a harder shot picking it up to the green and then controlling it. Neither's a great option, and you're wrestling with, well, which one do I prefer as a miss?
Yeah.
Which probably then brings in thoughts that shouldn't be there in the first place.
No.
So very clever design.
Yeah.
And let alone if this is your 72nd hole and you're trying to win an Open.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've looked at the Open as a tournament, looked at the course, looked at the key shots. Now the key players.
Yes.
So got to be accurate off the tee. Got to be great in terms of into the greens, straight change into the green, critical. Who do you pick?
Okay, so I'm going to obviously go outside the fairy tale Rory McIlroy winning the Open or Shane Lowry defending at Portrush. And I'm going to go for Victor Hovland because I think what we really need, as I mentioned earlier, is a player who is excellent strokes gained approach play, strokes gained tee to green, someone who is taking the stress out of this golf course. Because stress can very easily be applied around here. And that is what it's designed to do. And then you apply the stress of an Open Championship. So anything that can make things look easy. Obviously, then again, if you're thinking about players like that, we're thinking Scotty Scheffler. However, he's the world number one. So I'm just going to try and avoid all of the main fairy tale storylines, are the ones that we feel are obvious. And that's why I think I'm going Victor Hovland, because he's having a great season. He, I think, finally has control of where his golf ball is and golf ball flight. And so therefore, again, is a very dangerous player. He's been through the doldrums of making a bit of a swing change and figuring things out. And despite the fact, I think it was Valspar, was it, where he won? And he was like, I have no idea where the golf ball's going.
Yeah,
well, that was back at the start of the year. And now it feels like he very much does know where the golf ball is going. He's got that incredible mindset for major championship golf. We've seen him come runner-up. We've seen him come close on many an occasion on big golf courses. So I think he can handle that pressure and intensity of big golf course, major championship moment. I've been here, I've done it, I know how my body reacts. That win at the Tour Championship, like we sort of forget easily how incredible he was mindset-wise under pressure. Pair that with him having control of his golf ball. I think Victor Hovland is my guy. How about you?
Really good pick. I think going outside the obvious ones, I think Opens, it's proven people playing well running into it in recent years. There's a bit of form, so hence Hovland at the US Open. That makes total sense. But going outside of the key picks, it's very easy to say Scheffler's great ball striker, great whole game. I like Sepp Straka from a stats point of view. When he gets hot, he's hot, and he's a winner. If he's in position, he tends to do really well. But he's, I think, number 3 on approach play. He's number 9, I think, on accuracy off the tee. That side in particular, that counts for a lot round here. And sort of streaky player that when he gets hot, he's really hot. So I quite like Sepp Straka as a bit of the outside bet.
Love that.
I think he's quite a nice outside call.
Love that we've both gone for European Ryder Cuppers.
Absolutely, yeah. But I think it's set for, it doesn't look like the weather leading into the tournament is going to be too kind of exceptional. A little bit of sun, a little bit of rain. So it could be leading into a really exciting Open. I think kind of a bit like I felt the US Open was bubbling up. The players are all coming in a form who really want to be, and then put it on this golf course. I think you've got some real kind of exciting moments to come, particularly back end of the tournament.